Hi everyone, welcome to GM Chess channel. This part 2 video of the Queens Gambit Accepted variation. We'll conclude the Queens Gambit Accepted lines, all the remaining lines that white players can play, the main lines that white players can play against the QGA. I think the first part dealt with the main lines with e4 and also some of the side lines. And those who haven't checked it, check it out. You will get a clear idea about all the options that white players can play. So this is my idea. Like when I'm completing the videos, you should have a clear idea about all the options that white players can play, and you should get to know how to play against them. So I'll give you some plans and ideas about it, some basic stuff, and yeah, should be able to get started with that. But if you want to go a little deeper, definitely you should start following some of the model games played by strong players, and that is definitely next level. But this should at least get started with each of the openings. Anyways, to start here with DC4, and as I said in the last video itself, like we have to start with knight f3, knight f6. E3 is generally considered as the next critical list. Here, e6, bishop c4, the important moment. c5 is the absolute main line, and there is one more line which is a6. I prefer a6 as a better move order, mainly because we can avoid a lot of main lines. Like for example, in this line after c5, castle a6. Here in this position, white has a wide range of options. Like I think almost all logical moves in this position, again starting with dc5 and queen e2, bishop to d3. I don't know, like you name it, everything, every single move has been played in this position. Like I don't think there's anything that's left. White players have tried all these options, which basically is a little more tedious for the black players to play. So my suggestion is generally to avoid unnecessary lines. If it's not necessary to do it, we don't have to do it. Yeah. So in that case, I mean, I'm not saying c5 is c5 a6 is not the correct way to go. Definitely, this is the main line. This has been played extensively by the black players, and if you're ready to enter this, like you can definitely go here. Nothing wrong about it. Now, apart from this, a6 is a slightly better move order. In this case, we can limit our opponent's options a little more, because here a4 is the only move, in which case anyway we go c5, which means we made white player play a4 and all the other options are lost for the white players. Yeah, this is an interesting idea, interesting trick for the black players. And here short castle, nc6, queen e2. Here, yeah, cd4 is the main line. And after rook d1, bishop e7 takes on d4, castle, knight c3, and yeah, knight d5. I found a game that was played by Anish Giri quite recently. Like I think he played this against Korobov almost like a month ago. So which clearly shows the line is still very well playable for the black players. So those who want to enter this position can definitely check this out. But again, generally, like this is with precise play, black should get equality, but again, like isolated queen pawn structure, a typical IQP structure arises here, and as long as white maintains all the minor pieces in the position, white definitely can build up some strong attack on the king side. So black also has to be a little more careful in this position. So this is one way to go. The other line that again, another side line that black players can play is simple queen c7 in this position. The point is here, knight c3, here he doesn't commit cd4 and enter the IQP structure. Instead, he just continues with simple lines like short castle followed by b6, bishop b7 with the idea of rook d8 and rook c8. Which is another interesting line for the black players to play. As you can see, more or less without much difficulties, black manages to complete his development. And again, just one thing, just watch out for b6. Whenever black goes b6, white will be looking for d5. I think usually black generally starts with rook d8, preparing to meet the d5 break. And at the right time, he generally goes b6, else he'll simply take on cd4 and enter the IQP structure with knight b4, knight d5, but in a much more comfortable situation where white is not really like much better developed. So this is one way to go. And the other line that white players have is with short castle. And here again c5 would transpose back to the main line, which again like white has like so many options which we can avoid basically with b5. And here again all these three options have been played: bishop b3, bishop d3, and bishop e2. I think bishop b3 is the weakest among these three, which is, I found one interesting game where black player pretty much equalizes without much difficulties. Something like this happened, and like after a while, like yeah, this position which is extremely comfortable for black, and I'm sure like from here black starts playing for an advantage. So bishop b3 is generally not considered very at least threatening for black, and bishop e2 is a dangerous idea. Again, this was played by Karyakin just a couple of months back, and here after bishop e7, like he went out with knight e5 in this position, which is again I mean not exactly completely a new idea, but probably like I mean it was played by some of the players earlier, but the point is he's looking for short castle bishop f3, which is the whole idea of playing this bishop e2. When white goes bishop e2, it's nothing but preparing for knight e5 bishop f3 to neutralize this bishop on b7 at the right time. So this is the point of playing bishop e2. Again, this is an interesting position for black players after short castle. You should just get ready to meet this one, and yeah, if you're able to neutralize that, then the bishop e2 line also should be not so threatening for black. And bishop d3 probably considered as the main line in this position. And here bishop b7 and a4, b4. The point is now white never played knight c3, and yeah, after a4, b4, this committal move certainly creates some weaknesses for black on the queen side. This is white's idea basically. Now, yeah, I think they can also start with queen e2 and d2, or they can start with nd2 as well. It's more or less the same. And here, yeah, that is some interesting idea with e4 in this position. I think many years back, I think I myself played this position once as white. I mean, I think at this point, yeah, cd4 is considered to be an inaccuracy. I think my opponent fell for this trick, and yeah, the position becomes extremely bad for black. I mean, especially bishop e7. So knight d6 tricks are coming in. Yeah, like usually this position is considered pretty bad. But nevertheless, after e4, this is just considered to be the best idea for the black players. And after knight d7, yeah. So the point is in this position, if white tries knight c4, the same idea, and I think black can simply take on knight d4 followed by knight c5, and this is just considered to be like completely fine for black. And some players played bishop e4 in this position from white's perspective, and here after cd4 followed by knight c5, and I think again black has a very comfortable position. A few games have been played in this position, and black generally got a reasonable play here without much difficulties. So this should be something that black players should definitely check. And apart from e4 in this position, generally like other moves like again, so many other options like a5, knight b3, b3, like so many options have been tried, and mostly like we react to this in the typical play anyway. cd4 followed by bishop e7 follow. I mean, whenever white plays a5 to fix that weakness on a6, and yeah, typically a position like this arises where white has some ideas in this position, some advantages, and black also keeps some advantage in this position. Okay, like black is left with a pawn weakness clearly, obviously, like this is going to be a target for a long time. And d4 is definitely isolated pawn, and that can become a potential weakness for white players. And there is a grip on d5 that black players can play for. But overall, a double-edged position, and yeah, generally like these kind of positions, I'm sure like a stronger player will definitely prevail. So I think to conclude, overall, I think with DC4, one thing is clear. Unlike the e6, which is the Queen's Gambit, declined. dc4 definitely keeps black. I mean, gives more chances for black. Definitely, obviously, when you have to keep chances for yourself, it definitely comes with much more risk as well. Like black is certainly has to be careful in some positions. Like white generates a lot of initiative. So I think generally, if you like to play positions that are quite aggressive and dynamic positions, if you think you're good in calculation, I'm sure Queen's Gambit Accepted can be an excellent choice for the black players against 1d4. So I think with this, the QGA comes to an end, and I'll see you all in another video then. Thank you.